Why do so many people never make it past 85? With all our modern medicine, technology, and access to health advice, you'd think living into your 90s would be the norm by now. But it isn't. And the real reasons might surprise you. It's not just illness, it's not just age, it's everyday habits, quiet choices, and small things we stop doing, sometimes without realizing it. In this video, I'm going to share 6 proven, powerful truths that can help you avoid an early death after 60. These aren't gimmicks. They're wisdom backed by science and by life. I've lived them. I've watched friends ignore them. And I've seen the difference. So if you want to stay alive and stay well, this is for you. Let's get into it. Silent killer number 1. Sedentary lifestyle and inactivity. Why do so many people die before they reach 85, even when modern medicine is more advanced than ever? That question haunted me after I lost a friend unexpectedly. He was 72, still sharp, still walking his dog every morning. He didn't smoke, he wasn't overweight. But one evening he sat down in his favorite chair and he never got up again. It shook me. Not just because I missed him, but because he was doing most of the right things, or so we thought. So I started paying attention. I started reading, talking to doctors, asking questions. And what I discovered was this. One of the biggest reasons people don't make it to 85 has nothing to do with what they do once in a while. It's what they do or don't do every single day. And at the top of that list, inactivity. A sedentary lifestyle, sitting too much, moving too little. It's a silent killer. See, after 60, your body doesn't forgive the way it used to. It doesn't matter how healthy you were in your 40s. If you stop moving, your muscles weaken, your circulation slows, your joints stiffen. And before long, your balance goes, your energy dips, and your immune system can't keep up. And that's when the problems begin. I'm not just talking about weight gain, I'm talking about real threats. Blood clots, high blood pressure, type 2 diabetes, loss of mobility, depression, and the worst part. Most people don't even realize it's happening, because it starts slowly. One day you stop taking that evening walk, then it's too cold to go outside, then your back hurts so you skip the stairs. Before you know it, a week has passed and you've barely moved beyond the kitchen and the living room. It happened to me too. During one long winter, I stayed mostly inside. I told myself it was just the season. But after a few weeks, I noticed things were harder. My knees were stiffer. My sleep got worse. I felt foggy in the morning, like my mind was wrapped in cotton. And then I read something that hit me hard. Sitting for more than 8 hours a day without regular movement increases your risk of early death by more than 30%. 30%, just for sitting. Now, I don't tell you this to scare you. I tell you because I care. Because once I realized how much my daily movement mattered, I made changes, small ones, but powerful ones. I started walking 15 minutes in the morning. At first, I needed a cane. My pace was slow, but it got easier. Then I added 5 minutes after lunch, then after dinner. On days when it rained, I walked in place while watching the news, and within 2 weeks, my body started to change. I felt more alert. My back hurt less. My digestion improved. But more than anything, I felt alive again, like the fog had lifted. And that's the lesson I want to share today. Movement is life, especially after 60. Not exercise, not going to the gym, just movement. Stretch your arms when you wake up. Walk to the mailbox twice. Stand up and sit down from your chair 10 times. March in place while you brush your teeth. It doesn't need to be complicated, but it does need to be consistent. Because once you stop moving, everything else starts to follow. And the body you worked so hard to take care of begins to slip away, not because of age, but because of inactivity. So ask yourself, how much have you moved today? And if you're still with me, and this message is resonating, I'd be honored if you liked this video and subscribe to Glowing Age. We talk about real things here, things that matter when you're living your later years with purpose. The people who live past 85 and do it well aren't just lucky. They're consistent. They move daily. They don't treat walking like a chore, they treat it like a blessing. Because when you can move, you can stay independent. You can care for yourself. You can walk through the grocery store, clean your house, play with your grandkids. You can live. My friend who passed, he had one habit he let slide. He stopped walking. Told me once it didn't seem worth it anymore, that it was too much effort. And maybe he was tired. But I always wonder if just a few more steps, a little more circulation, a bit more heart rate could have changed something. So don't wait for a diagnosis to wake you up. Let this be your reminder. Your body needs you to move, not for beauty, not for bragging rights, but for life. Start small, stay steady, and keep going. Because every step you take is one more step away from the couch, and one closer to 85 and beyond. And I want to see you get there. Silent killer number 2, unmanaged stress and emotional isolation. Some things you can see coming, others creep in quietly without warning. Stress is like that. You won't always feel it building. You might tell yourself you're just tired or that you've always been a worrier. But stress, especially the kind that lingers under the surface, can be one of the most dangerous things to ignore after 60. I didn't used to think much about it. I thought stress was just part of life. Bills, family drama, appointments, world news, it never stops. But over time, I noticed how it was affecting me. I'd wake up tired. My heart would race in quiet moments. I couldn't fall asleep without my mind spinning. And worst of all, I started to feel alone, even when I wasn't. I've learned since then that chronic stress doesn't just wear you out emotionally. It damages your health in real and measurable ways. Stress raises your blood pressure. It weakens your immune system. It increases inflammation throughout your body. And long-term, it raises your risk of heart disease, stroke, diabetes, and even certain cancers. But the most surprising part, it shortens your life, especially when it's combined with something else most people don't want to admit, loneliness. I remember an older neighbor of mine, Ruth. She was kind, polite, always smiling at church. But after her husband passed, she started keeping to herself more, declined invitations, skipped potlucks. She said she was just resting more. But the truth was she was lonely. Loneliness in older adults isn't just sad, it's deadly. Studies have shown that being socially isolated increases your risk of early death as much as smoking 15 cigarettes a day. That number stopped me cold. And the thing is, loneliness doesn't always look the way we think. You can be married and still feel alone. You can have family nearby and still feel disconnected. Loneliness is about emotional connection, feeling seen, heard, needed. So what can we do about it? The answer isn't to pretend everything is fine. The answer is to take it seriously and make a plan to connect, even in small ways. For me, that meant joining a weekly coffee group. At first, it was awkward. I didn't know anyone well. But over time, those 90 minutes every Thursday morning became a lifeline. We laughed. We talked about real things. Sometimes we just sat in silence, but it was a shared silence, and it helped. It also meant calling old friends, sending notes, volunteering at the library once a month, saying yes to things even when I felt like staying home. And little by little, the stress in my body started to ease. My sleep improved. I smiled more. My heart didn't race as much. There's a kind of peace that only comes from connection. You don't have to have a big group of friends. You don't have to be the life of the party. But you do need people who care about you and people to care about. The best medicine isn't always in a bottle. Sometimes it's in a conversation, a walk with a neighbor, a shared meal, a handwritten letter. If you've been carrying stress alone or feeling like no one really understands what you're going through, I want you to hear this. You are not alone. Not really. Not if you're here with us. And if this message is speaking to you, I'd be grateful if you liked this video and subscribed to Glowing Age. Because that connection matters, and it starts here. The people who live long, full lives aren't just the ones who eat right or take vitamins. They're the ones who find ways to stay emotionally well, who ask for help, who reach out, who keep showing up. So today, reach out to someone or let someone reach you. Either one can make the difference between feeling alone and feeling alive. It might be the healthiest thing you do all week, and it just might help you live to 85 and far beyond, with peace, with strength, and with people by your side. Silent killer number 3, poor diet and nutrient deficiency. If there's one thing most people underestimate after 60, it's how much their food choices shape the years ahead. Not just in how we feel, but whether we make it to 85 at all. I used to believe that if I ate 3 square meals a day, I was doing just fine. A little toast in the morning, a sandwich at lunch, meat and potatoes at dinner. I wasn't overeating. I wasn't going to fast food joints, but I was also barely nourishing myself. Because here's the truth no one tells us. Your body needs different things after 60 than it did at 40. We lose muscle faster. We absorb fewer nutrients. Our immune system weakens, and our metabolism changes. That means we need to be smarter, not stricter, not starving ourselves, but smarter about what goes on our plate. What finally woke me up was a conversation with my doctor. She looked at my labs and said, "Your numbers aren't bad, but they're drifting. Your blood sugar is up. Your B12 is low. You're borderline anemic. You're eating, but your body's not getting what it needs." That hit me hard because I wasn't eating junk food. I wasn't living on sweets. But I was eating the same handful of foods every week: toast, pasta, processed lunch meat, frozen dinners. Easy stuff, familiar stuff, but not the kind of food that supports longevity. So I started learning, and I started changing one thing at a time. I added leafy greens to my plate every day. Not because I love salad, but because my bones need the calcium and vitamin K. I swapped out white bread for whole grains. I started drinking more water. Yes, even when I wasn't thirsty. Because dehydration creeps up faster when you're older, and it affects everything from blood pressure to brain function. And maybe the biggest shift, I started paying attention to protein. As we age, we lose muscle if we don't actively maintain it. And without enough protein, our body just can't repair or rebuild like it used to. Now I make sure I get protein at every meal: eggs, fish, beans, yogurt, even a protein shake if I need it. It's made a difference in my energy, my strength, even my mood. And you know what? I still enjoy treats. I still have dessert now and then. This isn't about being perfect. It's about giving your body what it needs most of the time, so it has the strength to keep you going. One friend of mine used to skip breakfast entirely. Just had coffee and a piece of toast, if anything. She'd feel shaky by mid-morning, nap in the afternoon, and wonder why she was always exhausted. When she finally added a real breakfast, some oats, berries, and a boiled egg, her energy completely changed. Her doctor even cut one of her medications. Food is not just fuel, it's information. It tells your body how to heal, how to defend itself, how to grow stronger, or how to shut down. So here's what I recommend, based on both experience and science. Eat a variety of colorful vegetables and fruits. Prioritize lean proteins and healthy fats. Cut back on processed, packaged foods. Drink water regularly, even before you feel thirsty. Watch your salt and sugar, not because of guilt, but because of balance. And most importantly, pay attention to how you feel after you eat. Bloated, sluggish, tired. That's your body talking. If this part of the conversation is speaking to you, and if you want more real, age-specific guidance like this, I'd love for you to like this video and subscribe to Glowing Age. We talk about the choices that truly matter after 60. You don't need a complicated diet. You need a wise one. Because the people who live into their 80s and 90s with energy and grace, they don't just eat less. They eat better, and the sooner you start, the better you'll feel, not just now, but for the years ahead. Eat for energy, eat for clarity, eat to stay alive and to stay well. Because food can either age you faster or help you outlast the odds. The choice is yours, and it starts with the next meal you make. Silent killer number 4, skipping regular health screenings. I used to avoid going to the doctor unless something felt seriously wrong. Maybe you've done the same. You feel fine, so why bother, right? I told myself that for years. But one day, a friend of mine, Robert, woke up with chest pain. He thought it was indigestion. Turned out it was a minor heart attack. He was lucky. They caught it in time. But when they ran his tests, they found signs that something had been brewing for months, even years. And all of it could have been spotted earlier. That was the day I stopped thinking of checkups as optional. You see, many of the things that kill people before 85 don't come with loud warnings. High blood pressure doesn't always give you symptoms. Early-stage cancer can be completely silent. Even diabetes can creep in without you noticing until something goes wrong. And that's the danger. We live in a world where it's easy to put things off. Life is busy. Doctor visits take time. Maybe the last appointment wasn't pleasant. But avoiding screenings and basic health checks is like ignoring the check engine light in your car. Except this time, the vehicle is you. Now, I'm not saying you need to live at the clinic, but I am saying that a once-a-year physical, a few targeted screenings, and regular conversations with a trusted provider can be the difference between catching something early and missing it entirely. I used to hate blood tests. I'd get nervous before everyone. But you know what? That simple blood panel caught my prediabetes. Because I found out early, I changed my diet and daily habits and never had to go on medication. It's not just about reacting to illness. It's about staying ahead of it. Here are a few things I've learned to check regularly. Blood pressure, cholesterol levels, blood sugar and A1C. Colon cancer screenings. Yes, they're uncomfortable, but they save lives. Mammograms or prostate checks, depending on your gender. Eye exams, they can detect more than just vision issues. Skin checks for unusual moles or spots. And of course, it's not just about tests. It's about asking questions, noticing changes, speaking up if something doesn't feel right. One of the smartest things I ever did was start bringing a notebook to my appointments. I write down my questions ahead of time. I note any changes I've noticed: fatigue, trouble sleeping, unusual pain. That way I don't forget in the moment. I also stopped worrying about bothering the doctor. Their job is to help you live, not just patch you up when something breaks. If you haven't had a full checkup in over a year, please make the call. And if you're appreciating this kind of real talk about health, aging, and staying in charge of your life, I'd love it if you liked this video and subscribe to Glowing Age. We're not here to scare you, we're here to prepare you. The people who make it to 85 and beyond, they don't do it on luck alone. They ask questions, they stay curious, and they stay on top of their health, not buried underneath it. So don't wait until something hurts. Don't wait until the emergency room is your first clue. Schedule the checkup, write down the questions, speak up. Because you matter, your life matters, and it's worth protecting one smart decision at a time. Silent killer number 5, lack of sleep and recovery. There's something we all take for granted until it starts slipping away, sleep. And the older we get, the more important it becomes, not just to feel rested, but to stay alive. I didn't realize just how critical sleep was until I started waking up every 2 hours in the middle of the night. At first, I blamed it on age, or stress, or maybe too much tea after dinner. But no matter how early I went to bed, I still felt exhausted the next day. Then I read a study that shook me. It said that poor sleep is linked to a higher risk of heart disease, stroke, diabetes, and even early death. And not just in people with sleep disorders, anyone consistently getting poor quality sleep is at risk. Sleep isn't just rest, it's repair. It's your body's maintenance window. During deep sleep, your brain clears out waste, your heart rate slows down, your muscles rebuild, and your immune system strengthens. If you skip that time, night after night, your body stays inflamed, your mind gets cloudy, and your organs start to wear down. And you know what's worse? Many of us don't even realize how little we're actually sleeping. We confuse time in bed with sleep. But waking up 3 or 4 times a night means we're not getting that deep, healing rest. So I started changing things, slowly. First, I got rid of the TV in the bedroom. It was a hard habit to break, but once I stopped falling asleep to the news or an old movie, my mind was calmer. Then I stopped drinking caffeine after lunch. I made sure my room was dark, really dark. No glowing clocks, no light from the hallway. I also started going to bed and waking up at the same time every day, even on weekends. That one thing made a bigger difference than I expected. It reset my body clock. And then I added something I'd never considered before, a wind-down routine. Every night I do the same few things: a cup of warm herbal tea, 5 minutes of light stretching, a few deep breaths, and I write down anything that's on my mind so I don't carry it to bed. Little by little my sleep changed. I wasn't perfect, still aren't, but I started getting longer stretches of deep rest. I stopped waking up groggy. My blood pressure improved, my mood lifted. That's the power of sleep. And if you're someone who's brushing it off, telling yourself that 4 or 5 hours is enough, I want to challenge that. You wouldn't drive your car without ever changing the oil. Don't push your body through day after day without giving it the recovery it needs. Here's what I learned works best. Avoid screens for at least 30 minutes before bed. Keep your bedroom cool, dark, and quiet. Don't eat heavy meals or drink alcohol close to bedtime. Get natural light during the day. Your body needs it to regulate sleep hormones. Stay physically active, but finish workouts a few hours before bedtime. And if you wake up during the night, don't panic. Stay calm, breathe. Sometimes just focusing on your breath is enough to ease you back into rest. If this part of the conversation feels like it was written just for you, because sleep has become your biggest struggle, please like this video and subscribe to Glowing Age. We're here to help you live longer, stronger, and with more peace. You don't have to chase youth, but you do need to chase rest. Because without it, your body starts to break down, your memory fades, your strength weakens, and your chances of reaching 85 with clarity and vitality get smaller. So tonight, don't just crash. Prepare. Let your body know it's safe to rest. Because the kindest thing you can do for your future self isn't in a pill or a procedure, it's in a full, healing night of sleep. Protect it, prioritize it, and you'll be amazed what your body can do in return. Silent killer number 6. Losing purpose or giving up on growth. You can eat right. You can walk every day. You can sleep 8 hours and take your vitamins. But if you've lost your sense of purpose, you've lost something even more important. I learned this not from a doctor, but from an old man named Saul. He was 92 years old, still getting up every morning at 6 a.m., shaving, putting on slacks and a sweater, and heading to the community garden with a notebook in hand. I asked him once what kept him going. He smiled and said, "I've still got things to do." That's what it comes down to. The people who make it to 85 and beyond, who do it with life in their eyes and a steady step, aren't just doing it through habits. They're doing it through meaning. Purpose is fuel. It's what gets you out of bed. It's what keeps your heart invested. It gives your brain a reason to keep learning and your body a reason to keep moving. When people lose purpose, after retirement, after kids move away, after a spouse passes, they don't just slow down, they sometimes give up without realizing it. You see it in their routines. They stop planning. They stop reaching out. They stop thinking about tomorrow. And slowly the body starts to follow. So how do we keep purpose alive? Especially when life changes and the roles we once had, worker, parent, caretaker, start to fade, we create new ones. You don't need a job title to have purpose. You need a reason, a connection, a contribution. Here are a few things I've seen work, both in my own life and in others who age well. Teaching others, whether it's mentoring, volunteering, or just sharing your wisdom over coffee. Creating something, writing, painting, gardening, even organizing family photo albums. Helping someone, offering to make a meal, drive a neighbor to the store, or simply listen. Learning something new, languages, instruments, history, computers. Setting small goals, like walking a certain number of steps or cooking a new meal each week. Purpose doesn't have to be grand. It just has to pull you forward. Even something as simple as saying, "I'm going to make one person smile today," can change your mindset and your health. When the mind is engaged, the body responds. When the spirit is alive, the immune system gets stronger. When hope is present, healing follows. I knew a woman who started recording bedtime stories for her great-grandchildren after she turned 80. Her voice, her laughter, her little jokes, those recordings became part of her legacy. And every time she finished one, she felt more alive. That's purpose. Quiet but powerful. If you've been drifting, feeling like the best years are behind you, hear this, they're not. Not if you're still curious, not if you're still caring, you've still got things to do. So ask yourself, what makes me feel needed? What brings me joy? What legacy do I want to leave, one small act at a time? Then do it. Because purpose isn't just a feeling, it's a lifeline. One that could carry you past 85, not just living, but fully alive. You don't have to do everything perfectly. You don't have to be superhuman. But if you want to make it past 85 and do it with clarity, confidence, and purpose, then these 6 habits matter. Move every day. Stay connected. Nourish your body. See your doctor. Get real sleep. And never lose your reason to keep going. If this video helped you think differently, I'd be honored if you liked it and subscribed to Glowing Age. We're building a community that values experience, resilience, and the second half of life. And if you've made it this far, I'd love to hear from you in the comments. Which of these habits do you already follow, and which one will you start today? You're not here by accident. You've still got life to live. Let's live it well together.